Well, hello there. This is Skip McCoy. Welcome to Riversoft University. This segment is Managing AR Part 1, Invoice List and Printing. We're going to go in this Manage Receivables area right here. And in this screen, we put together all the tools you need to keep your AR nice and tidy. What you're doing is you're putting together a list of invoices on which to perform some operations on. You do that by putting in a date range. And that date range can be by creation date, invoice date, or latest transmission date. Normally you're going to use creation date because sales are by creation date. There's a show owed where you're going to show all invoices regardless of the owed amount, show only invoices with an owed amount, show only invoices that owe full amount. You can categorize your invoices by the client payment method, cash, check, credit card, and that is set on the client screen. In the self-pay information, that's where you tell us the payment method for a client. Or you can key in a specific invoice number, and when you click Build, you get that invoice number. If you remove that, then you can use other filters like Office, Payer Class, Payer, or Client. So it's very easy to build just a list of the invoices you want to look at. By default, we only show the latest invoice number. So when I click Build, I'll get the latest one. But if you want to see a complete history of the invoices, you can unclick that for that invoice number, and you see all of them. Okay, let me get rid of that. Do a build, and now I've got all the invoices created between 6/1 and 7/7. There are 4 invoice printing options. You can show lines with zero quantity. If you uncheck this, those lines will be suppressed. Normally we show item adjustment lines. If you want to show it as a clean invoice, you unclick that. Normally we show employee names. For instance, look at this one. There's an invoice. There's an employee name on each line normally. If you wanted to suppress that, you would unclick this, click on it again, and now you're just going to get the skill and not the employee name. Normally also we show if a visit is out of compliance. If you want to hide that, you unclick here. This finalize takes an invoice that is not finalized yet and will finalize it. And a non-finalized invoice, when you print it, it prints with a draft watermark at the bottom here. This allows you to insert a process in your agency to review invoices prior to them leaving your agency. If they're not finalized, they've got this draft watermark. That means they're under review. Once they've been reviewed, you can simply finalize them, and that removes the draft watermark. So no more draft watermark, and it's finalized. Okay. Every now and then, a client is going to ask for a copy of the invoice that you sent their payer, and that's what this option is right here. It will actually take a payer invoice, and this is went to Walmart workers' compensation, and if you click on this, we'll print it as if it needs to go to the client. And all that means is in this area down here, this shows to a number 10 envelope. This will actually be sent to the client. It's just a copy for the record. They're not supposed to pay it. This is the copy of the invoice that was sent to Walmart. Okay. The invoice list is sorted by all the headers. Whenever you build a list, you get the total number of invoices right here. Service from and service to dates for the invoice. The description tells you what type of claim goes with this invoice, CMS 1500 or UBO 4. For Medicare, it will also tell you whether that claim is a RAP or an EOE. And if it's an EOE, it will tell you what type of episode it is. This one has not been typed yet, but when the episode is adjusted finally, it comes with an episode type, and that helps out with your Medicare cost reporting. Deadline dates. You can also sort by deadlines. By default, the deadline for submission of an invoice is 365 days. You can alter that by payer. Just go in here by using a payer switch right here. Submission deadline days, this one's been overridden to 90. Resubmit deadline days, that's been set to 45. So if you want to override the 365 day default, just go to the payer screen and put this payer switch in and put in whatever days you want. Okay, this owed column shows how much is actually owed on the invoice. It takes the outstanding amount of the invoice and applies all the cash in the system to it, and it shows you how much is owed. And it looks like these are pretty new and no cash has been applied. Okay, self-pay invoices look different than payer invoices. So I'm going to show you one of those. For a self-pay invoice, we try to make it look more like a statement and a bill, kind of like a Visa bill. Self-pay invoices, besides having the invoice number, the client number, invoice information, also have the last payment information, most recent cash applications, and then it's going to have the unallocated payments, previous balance, this invoice's amount, and current balance. So it's more like a statement. Whereas a payer version is going to look like this. This information is pretty much the same. A payer version is going to have information about the client's relationship with the payer here. And it's not going to have that balance type information. It's just going to be a statement of charges. And then this is the part that shows through the number 10 envelope. So they look different. Now you can change that behavior on both the self-pay invoice and the payer invoice using switches. And those are right here. If you want balance information on a payer invoice, you use this payer switch. And if you want to suppress the balance information on a self-pay invoice, you put this in the client comment. And while we're here, if you put this phrase, check bounce message, in the payer comment, that's a payer switch, or in the client comment, you'll get this message on your invoice. That could come in handy. Okay. Now, a real easy way to see how much sales you've generated, say for a month, is to put in your date range, click the build. That's going to generate a list of invoices matching your filters up here. Highlight the very first invoice, go to the very bottom of the list, hit Shift, and click the last invoice, and that selects every single invoice. And right here is a total invoice dollars selected. So this is the total invoice sales for my selection criteria. So very quickly you can figure out how much you've invoiced a payer or a payer class or a client or office or all your offices just by that little trick. It's faster than running a sales report. Okay. The invoice and its line items represent sales in Riversoft Office. The associated claim is just a tool that is used to collect money for the invoice. To adjust sales, the invoice must be adjusted. Changing the claim has no impact on sales. So if I go up to one of these, this is the invoice, so that's how it looks. And this shows $466.70 in sales. So when this hit my aging, it added $466.70 to my AR. Now, that also had a claim associated with it, and we can go look at that claim just by clicking this button. But if I edit this claim, it's not going to change my sales. It simply changes the tool I use to collect for my invoice. The statement for the client payer associated with the highlighted invoice can be shown just by clicking on this button. So by highlighting an invoice and clicking the statement button, I can see a complete statement for that client and that payer. Very handy. That's going to tell me every invoice and every cash application, every adjustment. And it's in a statement format, so I could send it to the client. The purpose of this screen is to supply you all the tools you need to keep your aging tidy. The rest of the Managing AR videos describe how to adjust sales and add aging entries that log your collection efforts. So please watch I think there's 4 or 5 more videos describing the adjustments, the co-pays, the rebills, the unbills, the collection log, the account log, the auto contractuals, and the adjust to owed. They're only about 5 or 6 minutes a piece. You're going to love them. Well, this has been Skip McCoy for Riversoft University, signing off.